Zach, what's it mean to be nominated for the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, that's really cool, really special. Honestly, not even on the spectrum of a goal of mine. I really just try to be the best player I can be and try to maximize my potential and my ability. So for that to be that one, not the end result, but an outcome of the work I've put in, I'm really proud of myself. And then it's a lot of credit to the guys up front and the guys on this team for aiding in my success. I really appreciate their efforts.
Do you feel like you're deserving of that award?
That's a weird, tough question. I don't know. I don't look at other people's stats. I don't know where I fall in, or what I've done is to that level. But I'm in the running for that award, so I feel like I deserve it in some fashion.
What were the big takeaways from the last time you guys played the Commanders defensively?
Yeah, you got to play all 4 quarters with a team like this, and they're a tough, gritty team, and that's how we want to play too. So you can't take them lightly, and they have a lot of weapons a lot of angles they can attack you from the quarterback to the running backs, the receivers, a good offensive line, a great scheme. You got to play all 4 quarters for sure.
What's the key in your mind to keeping Jaden contained within the hash marks, I guess, rather than letting him get loose?
Yeah, it takes the whole defense from the back end and what we do in coverage to the guys up front and kind of crush rushing and containing him that way, not giving him escape lanes to get out of the pocket or escape through a B gap, because that's when he's most dangerous.
How comfortable, obviously you and Nakobe had a great rapport built up. How comfortable have you gotten with Oren over these past few games?
Yeah, over the past few games, and honestly throughout the whole season, we kind of jumble up the lineup just in case something were to happen. We were ready for this moment, and he's came in and done a tremendous job in handling himself and handling the scheme, and he's been preparing all year like he's going to be the starter. And that's the same way with Trot. And, yeah, no worries about him. I'm really confident in his ability.
One of the things that Washington does really well is convert 4th downs. Your defense, how do you approach and see what they do, and how important is that phase of the game?
Yeah, they're an aggressive team in that way, so that kind of influences the way they play 3rd down too. So they might run the ball more on 3rd down, or they might throw shorter check downs on 3rd down. So it impacts the game in a lot of different ways than just the 4th down play itself.
How much is Nakobe still involved, just like in your day-to-day life these days?
Oh, a lot. He texted the group yesterday, and he's just such a personality on this team and such a leader. In him being gone, he still wants to be involved, and he's in our room, he's in the weight room, he's around the locker room, in the training room, of course, and he's still making an impact on this team for sure.
What did he text you?
What did he text me? He's like, I hope y'all doing good. Ball out on Sunday. Let's go.
That was kind of a weird game last time. You forced 5 turnovers, you give up 5 touchdown passes. Probably one of the worst games the defense has played this year. What was the reason for that? Have you been able to pin down what they did well and trying to fix that this week?
Yeah, I think just it comes down to limiting explosives. You look at the game, and the game came down to, obviously we had 5 turnovers, but too many explosive passes that were really uncharacteristic of this defense. And we pride ourselves on limiting those explosive plays. And in that game, we just didn't get it done.
How did you handle the increased pre-snap responsibility without Nakobe, and does that affect you at all?
No, I handled it pretty well, very well actually. Oren handles it very well. Just like I said, we prepare for moments like that in practice all the time. I'll go in with Oren and I'll make the call or make all the calls and checks during the pre-snap stuff. So it was pretty seamless.
As a guy, a veteran guy who hasn't really had a whole lot of playoff experience until this year, what has this kind of been like for you? And are you able to notice a difference between, maybe what's going on with this team camaraderie-wise compared to like maybe some of your others?
Yeah, think obviously I've only been to the playoff once and had a kind of limited role, and we didn't get very far in that perspective. But I'm just so proud of this team about being in such a place where it's win or go home. But this team is so well connected, it doesn't feel like that. Like the guys we're just going about our regular routine, and we're not making this game bigger than it is. But at the end of the day, it is a big game, and guys got to show up for sure.
On
A
that
couple more for
winner-
Zach, and we're opening the locker room.
On that win or go home, you guys have had late game drives throughout the season with the game on the line, Atlanta, Washington, then with the season on the line last week. What did that do for your experience and what this defense has experienced to have those specific experiences?
Yeah, I think having those, like you said, having those experiences during the season really prepare you for moments like this in the playoffs when you might need to rely on your defense to make a last Jalen Carter to get a game-winning sack or a game-winning stop. I think those two games that we lost and our defense was on the field last, we learned a lot from, and that's why you were able to see last week. We've been there before, we've done that, and that's how far we've come this season.
Yeah, first 2 years in New Orleans when you played with CJ, what was that like? I guess having him as a teammate, and was there a difference when he was gone, whether it was toughness, personality, that kind of thing?
Yeah, he was honestly like our guy on defense. He was our starting nickel at the time. You could say he was one of the best nickels in the league, and just seeing how he worked there, and I just saw how smart he was, and he really knew our scheme there. So when we traded him, I was kind of confused, like, we just let go of our starting nickel, what? And then they're jumbling to figure out who's going to play nickel. And then I honestly had questions myself on if he was a safety because I'd never seen him play safety. And then to see him come here and do what he did here, and then Detroit, and then back to here, it's been a incredible journey for him. And his attitude hasn't changed. He hasn't wavered, and he's capitalizing on everything he's got.
Hey, Zach, how much fun is it to watch Nolan, a guy at that size who plays the way he does?
Yeah, so fun. Just another guy on this defense with a chip on his shoulder for a different reason. For him, it might be people saying he's too small to be on the edge, but that's never the case in his mind. He's fast, physical, tough, dependable. He knows what to do, and the thing about him is he just keeps getting better and better and better.
What is CJ's perspective? Plays for you guys, in passing plays that you guys gave up the last time you played the Commanders. There was also that one fourth down play where Daniels got loose and ripped off the 30 yards on a run. Do you remember what happened on that play? Was that him making a miraculous play? Was there a breakdown from you guys? Can you kind of take me through what happened on that play?
Yeah, there were multiple guys on that play that could have made the stop, and it came down to tackling and just missed opportunities.
I want to ask the other side of that CJ question. What's his perspective on the way that your career has turned around?
I don't know. You have to ask him that. I know he's really proud of me, for sure. We have a long history of a relationship, and kind of been with each other through it all, and it's cool to be back here with him now.
All right, Lane's coming down.
Thank you.
Lane, what's the challenge if you guys don't have Cam this week? You've had him all year. He's obviously done a great job for replacing Jason, but if you don't have him, how big a challenge is that going to be?
Yeah, so we had some guys taking some reps at center today, Nick, Landon, so we'll be ready to go. I think we're just kind of monitoring that situation as the week plays out, but, it's how we ran it past couple of days.
How about for you? I saw that you popped up with an ankle on the injury report. All good?
Yeah, ankle's fine. Wasn't my ankle, it was my knee. I don't know if they put my ankle, but
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, we'll be out.
How's your knee?
Knee's good.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
My bad, Emily.
Not bad.
What's your scouting report of the Washington defensive line? I know you played him a few times, but what's your report?
Yeah, really good. I think Armstrong's a really underrated player. Payne, Allen's coming back, so they're feel like the heartbeat of the defense. Fowler, really good edge rusher. I think he has 10.5 sacks, so career year for him. Bobby in the middle, so I feel like they play really hard together. They run games very effectively. So collectively, I just feel like they're really a tough, savvy defense. They don't make many mistakes, and they play well together. And I feel like they do a good job of, of reading, what we're doing. Really, second game, so we got to make adjustments.
Third championship game, I guess, in 8 years. Any themes that you see together that you get to this point, that you've been through it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it you have to have a talented roster. You have to be lucky in some situations in that, injuries do play a factor in that. So for the most part, we're pretty healthy. But really, I think with all the teams that we had a close bond on and off the field. So, really coming to the season, we knew we had a lot of things to fix, and we had a lot of expectations to rise to. So with all that, we have a tight friendship off the field, and I feel like we're all that stuff translates to what we're doing on the field.
Playing 7 sacks again, Hurts getting sacked 7 times. It doesn't happen very often. What was going on with that?
Yeah, just I think you go back and look at the Rams game, just some stunts that weren't picked up effectively. So, it's a lot of times what they do, they run these different alignments. They try to create separation between the center guards and tackles, and when they get that and your technique isn't on point, that's what happened.
In Slay's case, by his own admission, he's coming here and end here. What's your perspective on these past 5 years of having him as a teammate?
Having Slay as a teammate? Yeah. He's been unbelievable. He's funny. He's he's just always positive personality. Obviously, he's a great player, but I just have a respect for how he works and how he treats all the younger guys. I feel like he's a great leader and bringing a lot of those guys around. So he's been like that ever since I know him. Ever since I met him really at the combine. So he's always been really talented, but I don't think people realize the leader that he is and what type of example he sets, and and he's done it for a long time.
Something that fans just said about him was that he still likes to play, which is part of why he's been able to have success at this age. Being around that age, how rare is that to still want to play, at age 34?
Yeah, I think a lot of it goes down to, what team you're on, the guys that are around you. So that's really what it comes down to. We have a lot of fun coming to work. Obviously, we like to compete, and, I think the guys around you really is what makes, that possible. So we're in a good situation here. So we've had a great culture here for a long time, and that's why it's different.
Lynn, you've practiced against a lot of edges in the 12 years here. Have you ever seen a guy improve as much from one year to the next as Nolan? And could you sense last year, even though he wasn't having the production on the field, that there was something special there?
Yeah, I've always recognized his work ethic and ability. I feel like his rookie year, he had some shoulder issues that he was fighting through that may not have, came to light, but he was battling through. And so this year, I feel like he's picked up some weight. He's stronger, so he does a great job of setting the edge. He's not just a pass rusher. He plays the run game really well, makes a lot of plays with effort, and he's doing a better job of getting to the quarterback. I feel like he's when he goes to line of scrimmage as a rusher now, he has a plan of attack. And so, competing against him, competing against BG, I kind of see a lot of Nolan in BG as far as the personality. He's always positive. He's always working, and with any adversity, it seems like he just, works right through it. So, and it's fun to see.
What was your takeaway from the last Commanders game? They shut down Saquon in the second half. Did they just sell out? And what do you do if you're looking at that again?
Yeah, no, we just, we didn't make good adjustments, I felt like. That's really what it comes down to. We had opportunities to win the game, but, when you look at the second half, they really had our number. So, coming this time around, have some different stuff for us scheme-wise. But, yeah, that was a difficult game for us.
How's Jalen looked over the last couple days?
He looked good. I was out there today firing around. So, we had a good practice. We went to the link. So it was good. He was mobile. He was moving. And, yeah.
It's possible that you could need Tyler this week. Just curious your thoughts on his season, where he started, was probably a little disappointed.
Yeah.
And how he's rebounded from that.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that that's kept battling. I think Stout does a good job of always preparing every guy in the room like they're playing. So if something does happen, which, it seems like something does every year that, guys are able to step up and play. Such a testament to Stout and TJ. But, he's a menace in the room, and I say that as a compliment to him. But he makes the rooms or the meeting room not very comfortable. So he's always asking questions. He just wants guys to know their assignment. So when they go in, they play well. And seeing as, from last year to this year, he's a lot stronger. And I think he's probably a little bit more comfortable on the left side, so which is what he played in college, but he's able to play both. But he's been a guy that hadn't complained once. And whatever coach has asked him to do, whether it's be a tight end, a big package, jumbo package, whatever we had planned for him, he's always done it, no complaints. And I feel like he has the skill set to be an elite player, and he'll be there one day.
How was
you and
the
Zack Hurts
operation with Landon at center, and how big of a deal is it to, I guess, have two different moving parts there?
Yeah, the main thing is just communication. So, a lot of what we do, we identify fronts. We got to listen to calls. So, Landon's pretty loud. He's a big, loud dude. So, we can hear the calls pretty well. But that's the real difference. Obviously, he has to take different set lines at center. It's a little bit different for him, but for us, pretty much the same thing.
Lane, you and Zach came in, same draft class. Kind of ironic that you're going to play each other for right to go to another Super Bowl. But what's your relationship been like with him over the last dozen years?
Yeah, Zach's has been a close friend for a long time. Obviously, we've had some distance, the past few years, but I always have love for him. We text a lot during training camp. We haven't texted this week, even though he did doubt my story about all the cookies I ate as a rookie. But no, man, Zach, he's always an intense competitor, so I always appreciated that about him. I feel like he tried to bring out the best in everybody. And, we talk about it's weird being the older gentleman in the room now compared to, the young guys we once were. But, yeah, man, it's fun. It's going to be a competitive game, and, it's different seeing him over there.
How lucky do you feel? How lucky do you feel that? This is your 12th year and it's your 8th time in the playoffs. A lot of guys, not many have that many chances. How fortunate?
Yeah, you're very fortunate. When I think of players, I think of people like Joe Thomas that would have loved to have the opportunity to play in one, and didn't get the chance to. So, it's something obviously that we hope for every year. Then you have to go out there and win the game. So, we're fortunate where we're at. And I think with these big games, we try not to, change too much, lean on what got us here. For us, try not to get too emotional, just focus on our plan of attack and let the chips fall where they may.
Can you tell that Landon has played center when he's out there? Is it very obvious right away?
Yeah, he's he likes to be the band orchestra. Was that what it? Yeah. So he's very loud. He's a very big man, and he can hold that space pretty well. So, it's different for him, obviously, playing left guard, going to center. So the set lines are different, what you're doing. The communication's a little bit different. But when you're that big and you're the strongest guy in the county, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Can you tell what the mentality of the team has been this week? What are you picking up on?
Yeah, man, we're focused. We talk about, it's all about us. But, with anything, I try to tell players this, emotions don't win games. Talk doesn't win games. Execution wins games. So that's how I see it. When I go into any of these games, big or small, I try to stay neutral and just focus on one play at a time and don't get too carried away. So, as boring as that sounds.
Jordan, I remember you in that locker room after you guys lost the Commanders. You were really upset with yourself, too. What do you have a memory of that, and if you could share it?
Obviously the goal is to come away with a win. So, we didn't get the win that time. So that's just what it was, knowing that, we didn't execute on a lot of plays that game and kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and they took advantage of it.
Is it good to have this chance to sort of avenge that, would you say?
100%. We know who they are. They know who we are. And like a normal division game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be physical. It's going to be fast. And another great opportunity to, again, get our get back.
Jordan, what's that moment like when Saquon kind of gets past the first wave and you can, like, how early can you tell that he's gone? And what's that realization like?
I don't know if I can explain it. Sometimes, some plays are easier to recognize it, and some plays are hard. And you're just like, oh man, how does he make it? He made that play by himself. But for the most part, I'd say when we execute our jobs, and once we just know, it's like just a feeling. Once you feel like you're in the right position and you've executed your block, you just know it's going to go to the house.
Jordan, Lane just said about Landon, he likes being the orchestra leader if he has to play center.
Mm-hmm.
How confident are you guys in playing center?
Very confident. Landon was the center from a part of his life, and pretty confident in him. If his number is to be called, but we got faith in Cam coming back. So yeah, for now, it is what it is. Stout does a great job of preparing us every week and preparing, different players at different positions for these type of things. So,
What's that been like for you this week, Landon, as the center in spots and a new guy?
it's been great. He's been very communicative, very loud, making sure that we're all on the same point, and that's what you want. He's doing a good job right now.
How much have you had to look at that last game? And when you do, you hadn't lost in a long time. You've won 10 in a row. When you're looking at tape of a game you lost, and the only one you lost after your bye,
Yeah.
you get angry? Do you look at it just as from a technical standpoint?
Yeah, look at it at a technical standpoint. More of a learning moment, a moment to grow, just because of when you watch the tape, you just see execution errors after execution errors. And, kind of gets under your skin, but you got to do a good job of just moving on and try not to be embarrassed when you're watching that play, because you got to learn from that moment, so we can go out there and execute this week.
There seemed to be one, I'm just going back to
Yeah.
being in the locker room, that there was one that really bothered you. Do you remember what it was?
I've already flushed it out. I have no idea what play that would have bothered
You
me.
were really specific about it that night, that's why.
I mean,
I don't remember what it, you didn't really go into detail that night either, but.
no, I've already learned from that moment because I've already moved on.
There's a decent amount of chippiness in those games. I mean, obviously division rival, but is there something about their play style that sort of brings that out of you guys a little?
They do a good job of being physical, meeting our physicality. They're well schemed, well disciplined, well coached, and those players, they've been, especially Dante and Dorrance, they've been with Dan Quinn for a little bit. And so, just being familiar with how Dan Quinn's style is, and we're not surprised with how they come out and meet us with physicality. But this is a good front that we're going up against. But like I've been saying, it's good on good.
Does it feel like Dallas sometimes when you've had a rivalry with them forever, does it feel like a continuation of that rivalry when you're going against those guys?
No, it doesn't feel like it. This is like their own little spin. They do different stuff from Dallas. Probably rushing style, probably similar, but when it comes to schemes and the amount of games and stunts that they run, it's their own thing.
What have you seen from Tyler Steen this year, from where he came and the start where he was penciled in and probably disappointed, and just the season as a whole?
I think Tyler's done a phenomenal job at being ready. Obviously those are factors that are out of his control, but I think he's a great teammate for just coming in, and when his number is called, he does the absolute best he can, and very reflective on the film. In the classroom, very attentive. And then on the field, when we're during practice, he does a great job of, again, just filling in for whoever it is, at left guard, right guard. Hasn't gone out to tackle yet. So,
What's the O-line's mindset like when a team tries to load the box and stop Saquon?
Those are things that our coaches do a good job on preparing us. Sometimes, that's out of our control, but you can kind of see that's what they have to do to stop Saquon and stop us. So our coaches do a good job of preparing us for that look, hence why we do walkthroughs. making sure that we see that look and we're able to communicate effectively on how to block it.
You welcome it at all because you know. if-
You have to embrace it. You have to embrace it because teams are going to do stuff to stop whatever you're good at, and that's just the nature of the game, nature of our game.
Jalen Hurts, 7 sacks this past game. What's going on there?
Just execution technique errors, not being able to pass off games. I think that contributed a lot. I know Jared had the 2 sacks on 2 games, the same game, just both on different sides. So they did a good job of being patient and executing their technique, and we just did it. We just did a really bad job of executing on our part.
You've seen multiple occasions of him fighting through injuries. Chicago comes up, and this past week where he runs out of the tent to make sure he doesn't miss a snap. Just what have you noticed about his mentality when
it's tough and gritty, man? That's him. He's tough. He's gritty. He wants to be out there with us at all times, and nothing but respect for him, man. He's tough, and he embraces it. He likes to embrace adversity, and he practices what he preaches. So.
What have you noticed out of him this week so far?
Actually, he's a lot more energetic this week. He's fired up, so it's good to see that.
You said you guys didn't communicate well against the Packers. Did you do better against the Rams?
I'd say in the run game, definitely. Pass game needs a little bit of work. That's just being honest.
And is that something you guys are focusing on?
100%. We're always focusing on it. I mean, every week, even from that Packers game, we try to stress these points, emphasize on the communication, and then, it's always who turns up on Sunday. If you turn up for that play, are you in that play? Can you communicate it effectively? And can you go out there and execute the technique?
What do you make of the fact that Jalen's a little more fired up this week? He's usually like that.
Even kill guy, right?
Yeah.
He's an even kill guy to you guys. Right? This is the Jalen that we see every day, but he's got good energy.
Jaden's kind of become the hot thing of this season, and then with good reason. But does it ever, I know it doesn't bother him much, but does it ever bother you that, people don't really consider Jalen that caliber of quarterback despite his record?
I just want to apologize for this. I just want to apologize. I'm sorry. I couldn't give a rat's ass about whatever anybody says outside this building. It ain't going to help us win championships, and that's our goal.
Stout, you talked about missing.
Sorry.
You talked about missing a couple games with Jared. How does Stout handle that when he's talking to you guys, when he's trying to correct it?
On the sideline or in the classroom?
In the classroom.
There's 2 different stouts.
In the classroom. I can figure this out.
There's a reason why we're a pretty good offensive line. His attention to detail is impeccable. You talk about a guy who knows the slightest. If you're off the slightest angle or your hand placement is off an inch, you see it, and sometimes you can't even see it. But if he sees you lose that rep, he'll know the answer why. Stout is he's going to keep hounding on the same things. Probably why we sound like broken records when me or Lane or Landon come up here. We talk about the same things over and over again. It's because that's what we get taught to do. Just keep doing the same things over and over again and keep doing them well. So, yeah, that's how Stout coaches. It's tough, and it's continuous, and it's repetitive.
Yeah, right now it's just Thursday practice, getting Cam some rest, and it's just kind of the way it falls with rotation on backup center. So service for practice and make sure that he's feeling good for Sunday.
How did you feel back there? It's obviously a lot of responsibility calling all the protections.
Yeah, knock the rust off. I did it for a little bit in college and done it a few times in the league. So knock the rust off and, kind of get back in the saddle. It's like riding a bike.
Do you expect him to play Sunday?
I do, but I'm not a medical guy. I don't know exactly what. Y'all can ask Sirianni or trainers. I don't know exactly, but as far as I'm concerned, I think he is.
How many snaps do you get at center during a normal week? You get some?
Zero.
How do you stay ready? Because at times we've seen you not often,
Yeah.
but you do have to go in there.
I mean, like I said, it's like riding a bike. So you go in, get a few snaps, knock the rust off, and then hey, you're usually good to go. So.
If you do have to play on Sunday, how ready do you think you'd be for that at Sunday?
I mean, I'd be pretty ready for it. I mean, it's happened. Usually I don't really get a heads up. It's kind of just like, one play and then Tampa Bay or even Giants game a couple years ago. I mean, at least I get kind of a heads up to go warm up and kind of get my footwork and stuff down. So.
The flip side, Landon, is how ready do you think that Tyler is to be called upon?
I think Tyler's ready to go. I mean, y'all have seen him service a lot in games, a lot last year, a lot this year. I think he's a great player. Every time he goes in, we don't really miss a beat. So, yeah.
Is there anything about playing center just from your college days that you miss in general?
I mean, not really. Just playing football, honestly. I played all 5 in college, so I just like playing football, playing O-line.
What's it like trying to get on the same page as the quarterback with the snaps?
Yeah, not very hard. I mean, I just snap the ball and it goes to his hands, and then he does whatever he wants to do or whatever play. So.
What are the challenges going against their defensive front seven? You guys have faced them twice.
Yeah, Washington. I mean, they're a lot of veteran guys, a lot of really good players, very well coached defense. They're really good. I mean, that's what I can say. A lot of good schemes. They do a great job, especially because we see them multiple times a year. It's a familiar opponent, which has its pros and its cons.
Are they a lot different with Allen in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Allen's a really good player. I think he also adds another dynamic. I think 95, I mean, all their D tackles are pretty good. Allen's just, a veteran guy, a lot of experience, high football IQ guy.
If Cam can't go, what does that mean? What are you guys losing on offense?
Well, then we'd lose Cam, and then Steen would go to left guard probably, and I'd go to center.
I mean, how important has Cam been this year?
Oh, I mean, Cam's been super important. He's our starting center. So, but again, it's like with anybody else. If we have a hiccup and a guy can't go, there's an expectation that whoever fills that role plays to the same standard.
What has it meant to you guys that Tyler's kind of been ready for whenever his opportunity comes after the way the training camp went for him?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. Just it's the philosophy kind of the offensive line room that everybody's going to prepare like a starter because you're one play away from being a starter. So.
You played the whole game, so did you get a sense that this happened sometime earlier in the game and that he played through it, or?
I really have no idea exactly what it is. So
it's a back injury.
Oh, I mean, if he did it during the game, I didn't know. It didn't look like it. So, I mean, I'm assuming it did.
Right.
I mean, I don't think he was tying his shoes and did something, but.
Landon, I think the fact that you're at home for this NFC Championship, that wasn't necessarily, going to happen until some things fell into place. How much of an advantage is it to have that home field advantage?
Yeah, I think it's great to be back at the link, back home. Home field advantage is a real thing, especially here in Philly. And NFC Championship game, I know it's going to be super loud for them. And, just really excited to have, be at home for this game.
Do you get
We are here with Nolan Smith getting ready for an NFC Championship game, and Nolan, this defense playing it so well, and it's come so far, right? We talked about this in training camp. This Vic Fangio defense was going to be hard to learn. Are you surprised by how quickly this team has picked it up?
No, I'm not surprised because guys work hard and study hard and just prepare for the week every week, and that's one thing that we do here. And then our coaches also get us prepared as well.
And I know the job is far from finished. We were just talking about it, but have you taken a moment to be proud of yourself for how far you've come this year?
No, ma'am. We're just trying to go 1-0 every week. I promise. We're just looking forward to the next game and looking forward to the next week. And this week is a big week.
And Zack Baun was just telling us, I'm curious your thoughts on it. He talked about the language of this Fangio defense, how that was the hardest thing to learn and how you're forced to over-communicate in times like this. Do you notice that week to week, and how do you guys feel like you've been doing that?
100%. We just got to talk, communicate, and it's different calls for everything. And that's one thing that he does. He helps us communicate from meetings, for him telling us what to do and just how he sees it and then how we see it.
And I don't know if you've watched national media, but ESPN, no matter what, Jaden Daniels is the talk of the country right now. Do you think the hype is warranted?
Oh yeah, he's a good back. I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback, and one thing he can run, and he's one of those guys that's mobile, and he's looking for the big play, and he can also hurt you with his legs. So yeah, the hype's real, and he's a good back. Good quarterback.
It's the same thing, kind of. Yeah. But you look at, especially last week, that environment at Lincoln Financial Field, how much does that fuel you guys to want to have another great performance for these home fans?
Man, just the third downs was amazing. And, man, that stadium gets loud, and those people out there during the middle of a snowstorm having fun with us and, you know, guys making snow angels and stuff is nothing more we can ask for.
Nolan, thank you. Thanks, y'all. We are here with Milton Williams getting ready for an NFC Championship game here in Philadelphia on Sunday, in full circle, learning this new defensive scheme. I remember us talking in training camp about how challenging that was going to be, this Vic Fangio scheme. How proud are you of this defense for how far you've come this year?
Man, we didn't come a long way. Just learning every week and just going over the tape with Coach every week, going over the corrections every week. And he letting us know if we playing it right or wrong, and just trying to grow and build and just build on the defense throughout the year. And I think we did a pretty good job at it so far. I feel like, I think we are ranked number 1. So that's good, but we got bigger goals and we trying to accomplish them. But it's a big accomplishment for sure. And just appreciative of a coach, coming here, bringing his IQ, his coaching, and just being himself in the defensive room for everybody, So
I'm curious, Zack Baun was just telling us the language of this defense was the hardest thing to learn, and how much you guys are forced to communicate in this Fangio system. Are you surprised how quick you guys were able to pick that up so quickly?
I mean, I wouldn't say we picked it up quickly. Like we every week we grew. But it definitely is a lot of communication. But I feel like that just helps everybody play faster, get everybody on the same page. Vic, you got little nuances on every call, so you got to make sure you communicate with your teammates so you can know exactly where you're supposed to be. And once you do that, I feel like it make everybody play faster. You do your job quicker, get to the ball, and try to get them on the field as quick as we can.
And now this third matchup with this Commanders team this season, what have you learned from the first two that you want to apply here the third time around?
Jaden Daniels a bad boy. Even though he a rookie, he a bad man. He present a lot, and he make them look a lot better than what they are. And we got our hands full with him, so we got to make sure number 1 is going and take advantage of him. Get him do whatever we can to try to slow him down and make him hold the ball, make him rethink his read, something, just so we can be able to get home, because the whole world see how electric he is, and if you let him get out the pocket, then it'll get real ugly for other teams. So we want to try to prevent that as much as we can.